Greetings, children of the screen. Your friendly neighborhood nerd scum here once again, coming at you today just with a little bit of news. So it looks like Corwin Hardy and Jason Momoa have departed from the Crow reboot. Yeah, so we're there again, you know? Like, as a fan of the franchise, you probably know from all the videos I've done, including my newest show, Nerd Needs. The first episode was on revitalizing the comic book version of The Crow, and for many years now they've been trying to figure out a way to revitalize the movie, and this last version has been in the works for about, I think, 8 years total, and we've gone through a bunch of different people from, like, Hugh Jackman to, like, I can't even remember everybody. Like, at one point Mark Wahlberg was associated with it, and just no matter what they've been doing, it just keeps failing to take off for one reason or another. In this particular case, they say that it is a problem of, basically they're having issues between the production company and the distribution company, being Sony. And it's weird because the IP rights for The Crow have changed hands so many times in the last few years. Like, the original company who was trying to get, like, the official reboot off the ground ended up crashing and burning, and then someone else bought the property, and then they wanted in completely different things to make the production happen. And so, you know, it's just a whole clusterfucky thing. But anyway, yeah, and if you go back a little bit ago, I had this series of videos called In the Shadow of Eric Draven, where I discussed the Crow franchise, both in the movies a little bit and in the comic books, where they were, like, basically always trying to redo the Eric Draven story. And now that this is hit, because in one of those videos I talk about my feelings on Jason Momoa in terms of being in the reboot, which I love Jason Momoa. I'm a big Jason Momoa fan. And I think he would be great for a certain version of The Crow, but I don't really care for the idea of him as Eric Draven. But that's another, you know, I mean, I still would have loved to see the version of the movie that these two guys were going to make, even though I feel like a different approach is probably more apt. In fact, now that they've announced this and it's kind of like kicked up the dust in my head, I'm going to be finally finishing out that series because my equipment failed me previously, so I had to discontinue the series for a short period of time. But I'm finally going to come back with my last video, which is basically me pitching to you guys what I would do for the reboot of The Crow. Like, normally I would make that into a Nerd Needs episode. That's what I was going to do, but with this news hitting, I'm going to try to film that and get it out early next week. Because, yeah, like I said, I love the frickin' Crow, man. And I want there to be an ongoing movie franchise that doesn't suck. And, you know, no matter how I felt about Momoa as Eric Draven, I still think that the movie they would have done would have brought a lot of attention to the franchise, and it could have potentially been a good kickstart, if you will, to kind of, like, revitalize the franchise so they could do new and interesting and different things down the road. And it also just kind of sucks because I know that, like, no matter how I felt about it, I know that Jason Momoa is a big fan of the franchise. Like, he's a big fan of the original graphic novel. He really wanted to play this character. Like, he went onto Twitter and did a whole post where he was like, you know, it's been 8 years that I've been waiting to play this dream role, and now it looks like it might be another 8. And this is, like, in his response to, like, him withdrawing from the project. And basically went on to say that, like, if the movie's ever right, and they're going to do it, I'll come back for it. And then he went on to apologize to James O'Barr that they weren't going to be able to do it properly and to do his original work correctly, or to do it right, you know, which again, like, I don't know, obviously we don't know if the movie would. I'd like to believe that, like, we would have got something that was not just incredibly, like, keeping with, like, the nature of the book, and something that, like, honored it, but also something that was very different than what we'd come to expect given, like, the original movie and how the movie franchise devolved from there. So again, like, it wasn't my ideal version of The Crow, but I'm definitely sad to see it go. It felt like there were people on the creative side who were invested and who were interested and wanted to create a good product, not only for the fans, but for people who were new to the franchise as well. And that's what you got to do when you're rebooting The Crow. It's the whole point of rebooting a franchise, is to cater to the core fan base while also bringing in a new viewership. So yeah, I'm really kind of bummed out about it. But what do you guys think about it? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you like this video, please leave a like and share it with some friends. That's more important now than ever with everything YouTube's changing up on small YouTubers like myself. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe and hit that little bell so you can get updates on all the dope content I'll have coming out in the future. Thank you very much, children of the screen. I hope you all have a good one. Nerd Scum.
Out.